Okay, welcome guys. Stock market technical analysis. I've got a ton of charts to go through, lots to point out. I want to get this video out before the weekend. Hopefully we're able to make some money. If anybody's been with me for a little while, drop me a thumbs up. If you're in the private member group, you caught on to that lift trade. I did point that out, I believe, in the general video. But again, talked about that lift trade pretty extensively in the private member group before earnings. All right, that we talked about that for the last few days. So we'll cover that. I'm going to get right into that. So guys, if you're interested in learning this as a skill set, check out my course if you haven't done so. There's a lot of value in there. It's good to just top off your skills or just get a general broad understanding of how trades are really put together. Okay, so check that out, link in the description below. Finally, if you're interested in having additional trade ideas, there is a private member group. I'm not in a Discord chatting all day long, but I do post general market updates and trade ideas to the YouTube membership. So if you're interested in that, had several profitable trade ideas this week already, including a Tesla short for a 10% gain in about 1 day. And then obviously that lift trade ended up being about a 35% gain when all said and done in about 3 days. So pretty good gains there. We don't always get gains like that quickly. This channel is not about day trading. It's about swing trading mostly, but join up private member group, $5 a month. I think it's well worth the money. I don't get all the trades right, guys, so don't count on every single trade me getting it right. But again, I'm giving you guys additional ideas there. So link in the description below for my course and the private member group. Let's get into these charts, starting off with triple Qs. Couple things, and I'm going to go pretty quick on these because, again, I've talked about a lot of this stuff recently in the videos. So just give you guys an update. Triple Qs. All right, we have an uptrend line there, broken. Trend line has been broken. So it's a sell signal for sure. Maybe we're at support, maybe not. I think there's some more downside here, guys. Minimum, if I go to the daily chart here, I would be looking for a test of the 200-day moving average or this trend line down here. All right, that is going to be the minimum drop. And if the market is going to continue to rally, then it could rally from down there. All right, maybe for another leg higher. I don't know whether it's going to do that or not. We'll be watching for indications, signs of that. But as of right now, still looking for some more downside in the triple Qs, down to a minimum of about 291 and then maybe down to this 285-ish level, depending on when or if it hits that trend line. Okay, NASDAQ futures, you can see here, same look, same setup. Again, here's the hourly chart here. You have an upward price channel. I'm not sure where my trend line went. Upward price channel, mark this out. Trend line looks like that basically, and broke the trend line. Okay, so that's been broken as well. So that's a sell signal. We should head lower. Apple looks very similar to the NASDAQ futures and everything. We did break that trend line. It's just they're not selling Apple quite yet today. So again, the rest of the things are getting sold into or have been sold into pretty heavily this week, except for Apple, still kind of hanging in there. So watch Apple, that's important. You want to see more selling in Apple for the market to sell down. Okay, S&P 500, looks like we've got a little bit of support. If I roll down to the hourly chart, you can see basically potential for support right in this area. Okay, so maybe the market's not going to just completely break until you see both of these break. So again, could have a back test in the Qs, maybe a little rally while this kind of grinds around and then this breaks. Ultimately, I think we've got some more downside though in the near future. So we'll look at, and then again, the S&P 500 probably come in for a back test of this trend line around 396, 397, depends on when it actually hits that. The S&P 500 futures, again, here's your upward channel. All right, we were ping-ponging around. We broke. Now, it does look like they're trying to recover it. We did have a whipsaw right up here when it broke to the upside and then failed. Now we broke to the downside, so maybe we get another whipsaw. Volatility has expanded. But as of right now, it's a break. And then if I look at the VIX, one thing that makes this breakdown a little different, here's the VIX, and I talked about this in the private member group. Here you go. You've got a bullish falling wedge pattern with bullish divergence on the momentum indicators, and you have a confirmed breakout. Okay, so yeah, they're selling it down today, but I suspect it's by the dip in the VIX. So breakout, come in, and then probably continue to rally. So if the VIX is going to expand and start to come up, then you should see the market start to, two things really happens. One, the markets move a lot faster, so they fall down to their support levels and hit resistance levels and really move quick. that happens. And then 2, you should see continued selling in the broad markets. Okay, let's get into some of the best trade ideas and the things that I really like. The semiconductors look really interesting. We can go with SOXX. I've been looking at these across the board. So SOXX, you've got some support, it looks like. Let me roll this up to the hourly chart here. This trend line, you have a potential trend line down here, and it looks like we're going to roll down and hit that. We also have a potential, kind of a trend line where we basically broke right there. All right. So that's like the most recent breakdown, maybe a little support down below. I think we've got some more selling in these semiconductors. They look pretty good for a drop. You can see here, pretty much made a divergent high. If I go to the daily, there's kind of an equal high right there and much higher high in price. All right, equal high in price higher high in price while equal high in momentum, and basically an equal high there. So that's negative divergence on the daily. As long as that confirms and continues to head lower, that would be negative divergence. And this sets us up for a move down to the 200 and then potentially down to backtest this trend line all the way down here. Okay, so that would be the 2 areas I'd look at. This trend line's on the daily chart coming from pretty much the bear market highs. Okay, so nothing really says that we are going to continue to drop and make a new leg lower in the bear market, but I think it is very likely we are going to backtest, or backtest at least the 200. Some of this this really impulsive rally, I think you're going to have to come in, shake out some of these longs, and then if it's going to continue to rally, it'll do it from down here. All right. And then when I scan through these semis, NVDA being, I think, the largest here, you can see, again, there's a upward price channel on the daily and a breakdown. All right, that's a sell signal. Looking at the hourly chart, we had negative divergence near the highs, and there's your sell signal. All right, we've hit support, so maybe we hold here, but ultimately I think this goes, it's about 207.75, and we continue down lower. My minimum target as of right now on this one, if I go back to the daily, would be this trend line down here. I think it'll probably come in with the 200 and maybe hit right around in there, about 170 or so. That would be my minimum. That would be my target for this, for a short in NVIDIA. So I like that one. AVGO looks even better in terms of a setup. Not quite a sell signal. I mean, we are breaking, but you can see here on the daily chart, nice clean bearish rising wedge. All right. And nice clean bearish divergence. When I look at the hourly and kind of what's going on, yeah, we broke. That is a breakdown. It's just not super impulsive. But again, given the posture of the rest of the semis, I think this makes sense for a short in my mind. So I am short this one. I'm short NVIDIA. Here's another semi. ASML looks really interesting. Again, same setup. Bearish rising wedge. Negative divergence on the daily. No sell signal on this one quite yet. It's probably just, it's probably going to gap down next week. Maybe we bounce, maybe we don't, but it looks like pretty much a gap down is imminent. So that's what I'd be looking for on that one. I stepped in early and I did short this one early. Okay, Lyft, Lyft for me, I'm not going to trade it right now, but here's Lyft on the daily. And let me show you guys what I saw. So look. Here's the setup, all right? And if you followed along, you would have, profited greatly. On the daily chart, you had a bearish rising wedge, okay? That was a very clean bearish rising wedge. We had a bearish engulfing. Each step of the way, I talked you guys through it on videos before really the big gains were really made. Bearish engulfing. Following day, you had a confirming candle. Again, if you've taken my stock market technical analysis course, I teach all this stuff. So again, take that course. It's priced affordable. It's not a, there's nothing, I'm not basically, selling you guys snake oil. This is just technical analysis, how to read charts. So take the course. I think it will benefit you greatly. All right, you had confirming candle on that. And then, earnings. Yeah, it was before earnings, so it's higher risk, but it clearly a bearish setup going into earnings. Okay, so the way I was looking to play it is I was short. If it rallied into resistance, because it could have done that, I don't think it would have gone much higher than that. I would have added to my short, and otherwise, if it gapped down, I would just take profit. And sure enough, massive gap down, And, there's your profit. Now, again, it's coming towards support now. You've got this big kind of, this was your wedge, but this was your support line. And I think you got some support down in here. So it's definitely coming into support. It's probably going to take a couple days, but I suspect most of the selling is probably done in this thing. If I go to the hourly chart, you can see there's no real divergences, but it's massively oversold. So this might just bottom out for a little while. I don't have a trade on it yet, but maybe there's a long here in the near future. We'll keep an eye out. And Tesla. Again, Tesla, talked about this one as a short in the private member group, talked about adding to my short yesterday. Sure enough, here's your rising, really just a rising price channel. But this negative divergence was telling me, okay, we're probably going to, at a minimum, pull back to the trend line support. And that's what I talked about yesterday. And sure enough, boom, gapping down and pretty much just selling right down to there. So, anywhere, you took it anywhere from there. Maybe it was an 8, 9, anywhere 7 to 10% gain, depending on when you took that. And I don't think it makes sense to stay short in Tesla until I see this trend line go. So now the next sell signal will come on a break of this trend line right here. Okay, and if we get that, then on the daily chart, probably going to have a pretty good size move down. I would say this right here would be a good target, and that is about 147, somewhere right in there. There's a gap to fill. I think that makes sense for some support, and that's quite a big drop. All right, that would be a potential drop of about 25%. So no sell signal yet until we see a break of that trend line. All right, Merck, talked about this one. Again, this one is you've got a, basically you've got an upward trend line here. All right, this is your bull trend there. Broke trend, big sell signal. This is big sell signal right in there. And we're now in a downtrend. And when you're in a downtrend, you sell the rip. All right, you short into resistance essentially. So again, broke down, hit support. There's your support 101.77. Rallied up to resistance, which is about 108.59. This one is an objective short right here and now. All right, so I reshorted that one. I like it. I'm looking for a continued move down, come back down to the support, ultimately break, and probably head down, to the 200. And really our final target is right down here, about 95. Boeing, I don't see any change here. We have this bearish rising wedge. We've broken down, but it's just kind of trading sideways here. So negative divergence on the daily indicates we're going to get a trend change, but we have to see because, sometimes when things break trend, they can just kind of go sideways and kind of burn off the divergences. So we're not going up, we're not going down. We'll just stay short. Cat, okay, Cat, bullish, or you have a trend line, bullish trend here, broke trend with the sell signal. Clean sell signal there, and you had a sell signal there, and we're just downtrending. All right, so I think, won't take much, and we'll start to roll down to this next level, 237, 238, basically next level of support. And I think that'll probably come next week. JP Morgan. So on this one, obviously you have a bearish rising wedge pattern on the daily, negative divergence on the momentum indicators. We have a breakdown. They're trying to hold on to it. Let's look at the hourly here. You can see we broke down. They've been buying it up all morning. We'll see if they can recover this towards the end of the day or not. We've only got about 20 minutes to go. So I suspect it'll, hold. It's not, again, this one, I think it's going to break. It's not super impulsive of a breakdown, but in general, I'm going to take this as the breakdown, and I'm going to do that because of the sector, XLF. On XLF, you go to the daily chart, you'll see here on the sector that I have negative divergence on the sector, all right? Looks like this is starting to turn, looks like the PPO is starting to turn down. There it is right there, crossover and turn down. So that's helping to confirm. We've got this trend line to watch right here. So obviously you break that, and that's going to be lights out for the financial sector. And yeah, that's it. So I like JP Morgan still short. Disney. Okay, so Disney had earnings yesterday. They ramped it up. It was up about 8%, completely sold into. Big red candle. And that's a bearish engulfing candle as well. And then today, gapping down below this trend line and also confirming this bearish engulfing. So in general, looks like lights out for Disney. I would look for two targets. One, probably going to have a little reaction here at the 200-day moving average. And then ultimately, I think you probably come in for a backtest of this trend line as well. But those are the two levels. So first stop, 200-day moving average, another, 5% down. Next stop, if you get it, of course, you have to look at the charts at the time, but maybe another 8% or so from there. So that would be, that's it on Disney. Bearish PPO crossover there. And in general, just, yeah, a good short setup. So I talked about that in the private member group. Obviously, that trade's already starting to play out. Okay, Starbucks, again, bearish rising wedge. Broke down with the sell signal. It's just been flagging out. That's all I can see here. Yeah, they could come in for a back test. I don't think so, but obviously that's possible. But in general, I just see a flag. Even if it comes in for a back test, let's say it rallies up and does a back test of this trend line and makes a new high, that would be a new divergent high, which would be an objective area to short. You just extend the divergence and likely still have that divergence. And it would just be an objective area to add or take an objective short. So it's sell the rip on this one. Whether we go up or not, to me, it's going lower in the near future. You know, probably fill this gap and then work our way, you know, kind of work our way down to some of these support levels down here. All right. Decent support down there at about 93, 94. Yeah. So that's it. Natural gas looks like it's hanging in there. So we'll look at some longs. I know everyone says all I do is short. We're in a bear market, guys. All right. In a bear market, I want to sell the rips. That's kind of the, you know, you want to buy the dips in a bull market and you want to sell the rips in a bear market. The thing is, most people have never traded or experienced a bear market. So the only, you know, they think a bear market just kind of rolls in. And then once it's done, it's time to buy the dip. They just want to go back to buying the dip because that's all they've ever known. Guys, we're still in the bear market. Nothing's changed. So in general, I'm looking to sell the rips, sell the rallies, short the rallies. All right. That's what I'm trying to do. But not everything. Here's natural gas. This one obviously just tanked. And, you know, at the end of the day, when I look at the hourly, all right, on this UNG one, you can see we basically had a breakout. They came in for a back test. It was objective to add or go long there on the back test, and we're rallying off of that. So you need to take out the highs to really start that uptrend. It's about 888 in UNG. The next buy signal would come on a, you know, you want to buy at support or breaks of resistance. There's a buy on support down there, and you buy on a break of resistance up here. So you take that out, this thing should start to run, probably run up to this $10, 10.20 at the next level of resistance. It really should take off pretty sharply, I would think. So looking good for the long trade. And then wheat looks good too. Wheat, a couple things about wheat, and then coffee as well looks kind of good. On wheat, pretty thinly traded. So obviously, boom, there's your breakout on that 777, 78 area of resistance. Little resistance right there at 8. But again, you know, because that was your former high. So you take that out and this thing should run. I think once you take that out, it's very probable we're going to run up to the 200-day moving average, you know, pretty quickly. All right. And that's up there at 882. So I like that. I'm long wheat. I think it still looks good. And then obviously coffee. We'll look at coffee here. Coffee's kind of just doing nothing over the last few days. We did have this uptrend line, not super well established, but let me go down to the hourly. You know, it's there, and we're kind of just trading sideways. But I like the coffee futures. They still look constructive. Coffee futures, you can see, basically broke out of this range right here, and we've just been back testing the last few days. But we have bullish divergence on the daily. Okay, so that indicates I think we're going to have more of a run. Minimum up to the 200-day moving average, up there about 199.60 on coffee futures. Okay, that's about all that I needed to cover. So guys, drop me a thumbs up if you're finding value. Check out that course if you haven't done so. I think you can learn a lot if you haven't taken that. And then also the private member group here for your, you know, it's here for you if you need it. So links in the description below on those. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.